Loki officially has the best character arc in all of the MCU. The only other one that's close is the Winter Soldier, and his story arc's not finished yet, so we can't even really judge that. I'm not quite sure how it happened, but Loki has officially taken the #1 spot for my favorite character in the MCU as a whole. Let's dive into the season finale, if not maybe even the series finale of Loki, and talk about exactly why he's now my favorite character. Right off the bat, season finale / series finale potentially was a 10 out of 10. Absolutely perfect ending to the series as a whole, to the season as a whole, and possibly even Loki as a character. Such a great ending. And if I'd never gotten any more Loki, I'd be a little bit upset, but I would also be very much okay with that ending. There's only one other thing I would love for Loki to experience, and that would be to see his brother Thor one last time so that they can just kind of talk things out as brothers. Basically, throughout the entire season finale, Loki was really struggling with what can I do? And really at the end, the answer was basically only one thing, and that was to, as he put it, become the god he knows he needs to be. Loki pretty obviously couldn't leave Kang alive, and he couldn't kill Sylvie because he just couldn't bring himself to do that. That's a character that he loves. This is a person that he loves. So he couldn't do that. He couldn't just leave Kang in power because, well, you know, it's Kang and he's pruning all these timelines. It's killing billions and billions of people and trillions of people. So what else was there left for him to do but become the master of stories, or Avenger Prime? I think what this episode did perfectly, masterfully, however you want to describe, whatever adjective you want to use to describe this episode, you're probably correct, unless it's something bad, because it really just came full circle for that character, for the season, and for the entire show itself. From the first time that we saw Loki, the only thing he really wanted was a throne. He wanted to be a king. He wanted to rule people. He even talks about his glorious purpose, how he's burdened with that. And then by this one episode, we get him denying that he wants a throne. He says the last thing that he wants is a throne. He doesn't want to rule people. He doesn't want to rule anything. He just wants to be a good person, from what I can tell. Not only does he just want to be a good person, he also uses the same lines that he used back then when talking to Odin and a bunch of the other different Thor movies that he's in. He used the same lines, but in very different contexts here, and it's really a beautiful thing. I mean, I really don't think I can give enough praise to this final episode and to this character. The only thing that I'm really sad about is that the showrunners have confirmed that basically seasons 1 and season 2 were just meant to be like a part 1, part 2. Like, that's the end of the story that they plan to tell. However, this does not mean that Tom Hiddleston is done playing Loki. He just recently went on a podcast and did a little interview where he talks about this. He said goodbye to the character before, but he won't do that again because it could be that he comes back, and who knows. So really the main reason that Loki has now become my favorite character in the MCU is because of that wonderful story arc that we got, all the things I've mentioned in this video. And if you just watch for yourself, from the first time you see Loki to this point, it's a completely different character, but you can see throughout that journey, you can see that transition to the character he finally becomes and the god that he finally becomes in the season 2 finale. Like I mentioned earlier, the only other character that I think is close would be Winter Soldier because of his villain to hero arc as well, but that isn't even finished. So who even knows what's going to happen with that? These two characters that I'm comparing, obviously they have different stories, but they're also very similar in a lot of different ways. Both of them, which is the one thing I love the most, is that both of them are trying to make up for all the things they did in the past. It's really fascinating to watch. There's a clip from one of the earlier Thor movies where Loki is talking to their mother, and she tells him that a true king admits to his faults. And that's exactly what he did throughout the show of Loki, especially in the end. I just think Loki's such a great character. I think Tom loves playing Loki as well, and I hope he gets to continue to do that. But that kind of leads me into what needs to happen in the next Thor movie, because it's already confirmed that that's coming, and Taika Waititi is not going to be directing it, so I think that's a win. But Thor needs to somehow be placed outside of time and space to see his brother, to have one last conversation so Loki can explain himself, but Thor can also forgive him. If I get that scene, it's official. Loki can end that. I will be happy with, because that would be the perfect way to see Loki go away and not return for the MCU because he's finally forgiven. He can kind of rest in a sense. Obviously, he's still holding together all the different timelines, but he can rest and he can be happy. He can be happy knowing that he's finally made up for all the wrongs he's committed. That's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you thought of the season/series, potentially finale of Loki. What do you think of the character? He's my favorite now. I cannot wait to see if he comes back and what they do with him. I appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.